Missing them a couple times. Nice job. Well, one multicultural couch. We had Rich from Sweden, Gardas from Italy, the Mexican runner representing Mexico, and I believe Poland as well. Um, so I think it's only appropriate. We have some donation comments from around the world. Anonymous donates $10. Greetings from Slovakia. Always happy to support a good cause. Thank you for such an amazing event. Shout out to all the runners, and keep up the good work. Yozak Palka donates $20. Nesmania, we all believe in you. Go TMR. Anonymous donates $30. Thanks for this great event. Go fast, and of course, kill the animals. Greetings from Europe. Solid Snake donates $10. Watching the first time live and love it. Greetings from Bavaria, and of course, kill the animals. Bethany Owen donates $10. Greetings from the UK. Been waiting all week for Darkwing Duck, one of my absolute favorite games as a child, and it certainly seemed a lot harder than TMR is making it. Donation goes to Lost Levels, 2 players, 1 controller. That is a wonderful incentive that you may put your donation towards a bonus run of Super Mario Bros. The Lost Levels, played with 1 controller by 2 people, Andrew G. and Big John. That incentive is just about halfway to its $50,000 mark, 25,000 more needed to make that happen. If you want to see it, and I certainly do, get those donations in. Vinny B donates $20. Greetings from Sweden. I just want to say thanks to the people making AGDQ possible, and good luck to all the runners. Oh, and save the animals. Anonymous donates $200. This event is amazing. It makes me glad to donate here for good reason. I put this money in Super Mario The Lost Levels 2 player, 1 controller. Greetings from Switzerland. Mayo Mike donates $12.34. Greetings from Herndon. Since it's a 2-player run, does that mean we'll be getting an egg roll duet as well? Hashtag give 2 players 1 controller a chance. Herndon, Virginia is of course where this marathon is being held. Mayo Mike donating from on location. Raiden donates $10. Super excited for the task block, but the Lost Levels has to happen. Love you all, and thanks for everything you do. This is not much, but still, here's towards fighting cancer together. Every donation counts, so thank you very much, Raiden. We also have a donation from Toxic Wild Hog, $25. I firmly believe that Shift shouldn't be allowed to speedrun Battle for Bikini Bottom twice in a row for AGDQ. Shift fans will get the joke. Also, you did in fact hear me say that correctly. The next game is SpongeBob SquarePants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Every now and then, a game inexplicably takes over the speedrun community, and SpongeBob SquarePants is one of those games. Suddenly found itself an entire community of players, and they've really pushed the game, so look forward to that coming up in just a moment. AGDQ 2017, brought to you in part by the Yeti, the official tea sponsor of Games Done Quick since 2012. This is their 10th Games Done Quick that they've been a part of, and in celebration of that, each shirt you buy will now give $4 towards the Prevent Cancer Foundation, as opposed to 3. Shirts are only $11, so you can go to www.theyeti.com/agdq. That is THEYETEE, and get your shirts today. Some of the other incentives available to put your donations towards. TASBot is going to be playing a game. You get to choose whether it will be from Nintendo or Valve. Currently Valve quite ahead, 12,200 to Nintendo's 6,600. So if you want to see TASBot play some Nintendo, you need to get those donations in. You can also name the Dark Souls 3 character. Robbie Rotten way out in front with 7,700, followed by Mammy Nova at 5,400, and The Champ at 2,700. Looking at some of these other names, you can choose Big McLarge Huge, Get Good, Funk Royal, Macaroni Grill, Edward Emberpants, John Dark Souls, Beard Phantom. Yeah, these are pretty good. They all have a long way to go if they want to catch Robbie Rotten, though. One thing you do not have to donate for is the Prince's Glitch exhibition. That met its $33,000 goal, so we will be seeing that after Dark Souls 3. There is the Wind Waker file name. Iwata, way out in front with 4,100. Followed by Rabram at 1,800 and Lonk at 1,000. I would have expected Lunk, but Lonk, all right, I like it. There is, of course, the classic fate of the animals in Super Metroid. Save or kill. They are pretty much even here, and both are over $100,000. People care about these animals one way or the other. Thank you so much, everyone, for your donations. In a new option this year, how should we handle the final boss of Undertale? It's our finale, and we can either comfort them or shun them. Comfort way out in front, 10 times more than shun, actually, 8,200 to 830. So if you're feeling like you don't want any hugs today, you got to donate to make that happen. I especially recommend donating towards the Super Mario Bros. Lost Levels 2-player, 1-controller run. That will only happen if another $25,000 are donated towards it. That is going to be Andrew G. and Big John, each with a hand on the controller, playing together to beat arguably one of the hardest Mario games. I also recommend donating for the bonus task, Revenge on Gradius. TaskBot showed off Gradius at AGDQ 2014, but some desync issues caused them to move on to other games. It did give them an opportunity to talk about what it means to desync, but we did not get to see the wonderful tool-assisted run by, I believe, a Delicat. And it pulls off some really interesting things, really fun, one of my favorite tool-assisted runs. So I would really like to see that on stage. That has $8,000 of the $40,000 required for that to happen. So think about that when you get your donations in. Speaking of, we have a couple more in. Raycaster donates $50, says, "Shut up and take my money." Unfortunately for him, I'm going to keep talking and say Denif donated $50 for swag. Great run, TMR. Thomas Ford donates $100. Just received my first paycheck after finishing university. I've been watching for years and am so glad I can finally donate. Keep up all the good work. Auntie Corhonen donates $500. They say, "Looking forward to the task block. This donation goes to Super Mario Brothers, The Lost Levels, 2 players, 1 controller. Let's get there. Greetings from Finland." Thank you so much. Anonymous donates $75. Greetings from Edmonton. My first AGDQ, and I'm loving it. Keep up the awesome work. Mero donates $10. So hyped to see Battle for Bikini Bottom in GDQ. Congratulations once again to everyone who worked to make this game faster. You've earned it. I'll donate my entire life savings if Shift can get 5. If you're just tuning in, perhaps you woke up. Good morning, fellow East Coasters. You're watching AGDQ 2017. We're raising money for the Prevent Cancer Foundation, one of the nation's leading voluntary health organizations and the only U.S. nonprofit focused solely on cancer prevention and early detection. It was founded in 1985, and it's catapulted cancer prevention to prominence and fulfills its mission through research, education, outreach, and advocacy across the country. For more information, visit preventcancer.org. All right, guys, we are ready. Spongebob Squarepants Battle for Bikini Bottom. Let's go!
Hey.
All right, here we are. This is the day. We play SpongeBob for the first time ever in GDQ. I'm Shift on the couch. You guys can introduce yourselves.
Okay, I'm Cole.
I'm Red Moss.
I'm Jelly.
All right, and we're going to start the run. Now, we're going to start on go, okay? 3, 2, 1, go. Yes, this is a licensed video game, but you guys are going to be entertained, trust me. If you played this game before, it's a lot easier to appreciate it. However, if you haven't, it's still pretty cool in certain parts. There are some downsides, like the bosses are kind of slow, but it just picks up speed from the beginning to the end, gets a lot faster and a lot more exciting. So if you can bear through the first 20 minutes, you'll probably be glad you did. So we're coming up to the first major exploit now. This is the glitch that disables the hand that drags you out of bounds. Now, the reason why we need to do this is because the hand blockades you when you try to leave the map. So by doing this trick where we leave the loading zone with the hand out, technically the game knows that the hand is out, but it hasn't left yet, so we can leave and the hand is there. So it never comes back. So now we can just jump out of bounds. And that's pretty much used for the rest of this run. In different categories, there are tricks where you bring the hand back and do stuff with it, but For this particular category, we leave the hand out for the entire run. And yeah, this game is pretty goofy, but if you bear through that, you might be surprised. Okay, so this is the first out of bounds trick in the run. So that spatula is usually out of bounds, and we're going to exploit, by grabbing that spatula, we can warp to it now. Usually we need to talk to Gary to get this mission, but since we grabbed the spatula out of bounds, we can just warp to it and just skip that whole part of the level. Now we're coming up to a trick until a few months ago was previously thought to be only task viable, but through lots of practice, we've made it consistent. And it's very difficult, so see if I can get it. This is called hammer skip. And it is not fun at all. At first try.
Nice.
Here we go.
That was really good.
Near perfect execution.
So
Now, excuse me? Yeah.
Oh, so if you're unfamiliar with hammer skip, basically it's an AI manipulation on one of the most unpredictable robots in the game, and then relying on a one-frame jump to get up without a ledge grab. So that's very impressive to get that first try.
Yeah, there is another method for hammer skip where you skip the jump into the water, but that's extremely precise, and it only saves 1 second. I only go for it when I'm trying to get a best segment, really. Fun fact, in current world record, the only mistake in the run is hammer skip, because I was doing a no reset run to practice for this marathon, and I just continued, and it turned out to be a really good run. Okay, so that was a cutscene skip, and one thing I like about this game is that a lot of the cutscenes and text box you can just skip right through, so it's a lot of gameplay. And we're also coming up to a damage boost now. And we got the one-frame jump. We're going to skip the ledge grab. All right, so far this run's been frame perfect. This game runs in 60 FPS, by the way, so one-frame jumps are also very inconsistent, because there are 3 different hit stun cycles for Spongebob, and you have to hit the one frame after his hit stun cycle ends. So you have to know the timing for all 5 of them and know when they come in to be able to hit those consistently. So now we're just going to annoy Squidward. He tells you when you enter the house, why don't you just jump around like an idiot? That'll at least make me smile. So then you literally jump around like an idiot, and he gives you a golden spatula for it. Don't trust anybody, not even Squidward's house. This trick can be a little bit inconsistent, but we got it first try. We're good. So now we're headed to downtown Bikini Bottom, which is the longest segment in the game. We actually have multiple splits for this when we do it with live split. Shoutouts to Woofer. Now, this is one of the few instances of the game when we consider this grinding because we need to grind shiny objects to enter the sea needle, which is the game's currency. This is really the only instance of grinding at any %, but some may consider boss fights grinding because it's very repetitive, but it isn't grinding in the literal sense that we have to collect objects. This one section of the game is the collect-a-thon part, but for everything else, we pretty much skip all the toll booths and areas that cost money, and spatulas.
There's another place where you can grind shiny objects too in a later level, but I don't think it's as fast as this method, at least in any %.
Yeah, in any % it isn't viable because we have the hand enabled. Like I was mentioning, we have the disabled, my bad. Like I said before, there are some categories where we take the hand out and bring it back in, and that's 100% where we go to the museum and do grinding there. So we're only going to do this one around like a half of a time, and we're going to head over to the sea needle after that. Now, if you played this game before, I'm not going to explain everything that's going on here because it's just a lot to take in, and the tricks are very minor. But if you play the game before, you might get excited when you see the stuff that we do to get to the sea needle in the fastest way possible. The beginning of the game is a lot of walking, not too exciting, but as we get later into the run, there are more damage boosts, and then the damage boosts in the end are replaced by another trick that will be revealed later into the run, which is actually the reason why I started running this game, because of that trick, but you'll have to wait to see that. Got to keep you guys on your seats. Or on the couch. Okay. So this is just a no damage boost AI manipulation. We get him to taunt so we could jump on him. A lot of the objects in this game are solid for whatever reason. Probably for, it's probably efficient for them to just throw the object into the game and not take the time to make them solid or not. So you might notice that we're also collecting these socks, and you'd wonder, why are we collecting socks? Well, you also might wonder why Patrick collects socks, because he doesn't wear shoes. We actually turn in 10 socks for spatulas in this game. It's kind of like a blue coin in Super Mario Sunshine, where you trade in the socks for spatulas. So we need 30 socks in any percent to finish the game, because we need 3 spatulas from those socks. Here comes the sea needle. Now, this part of the game is pretty precise because there are some tikis later in the later cycles that damage you if you hit them straight on. So you have to be very precise about your movement and make sure you hit the right tikis on the right cycle. If you miss a tiki, the whole cycle gets thrown off and you lose a lot of time. And we missed the thunder tiki, so we're going to live and we're going to continue the cycle. We're also collecting these wheels to give them to Mrs. Puff later in exchange for a spatula. You might remember that if you played the game casually. All right, luckily we didn't get hit by Chuck. Chuck's really annoying. He's a precise torpedo robot that fires at you.
And if you fall off and die in the sea needle, or you have to warp back since the hand is disabled, all the tikis are back and reset, so you just have to do the mission again.
All right, not very fast, but we still made it. So the reason why that was a little bit slow is because Chuck was right in the middle when you saw that. If Chuck's in the middle, you have to be very cautious of where you're going, otherwise he might hit you. And if you fly off, then you have to die and come back and do the whole thing over again. So I was cautious with that, and I took it slow on Chuck, so we missed the cycle by a little bit, just a little. But it's fine, though. We're still in the game. So now we have Sandy. Now, Sandy's a unique platformer in that she has a triple jump in this game. And she's very useful until we get to that exploit I hinted at earlier with Spongebob later in the game. So we actually just skipped the Sandy tutorial level because the game developers didn't take into account that this Texas Swinger is too low, where I just went to be able to grab it straight from the bus stop platform. You can see it up there in the upper left corner.
I think there is a way to get to this spatula with SpongeBob manipulating the sponge ball, but it's pretty complicated non-task.
Yeah, do you think that would be viable in like a task 100% run maybe?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, who knows? There was a task for this game a while back. It was more of like a, the one that most people would know if you've seen a task of this game was not really like a full-on inhuman strat task display. It was more of like, what would a perfect run be like if a human did it, and did a lot of one-frame boosts and stuff with the similar route to RTA. But there is another task that was in works for a while. You guys might know Hazel. She did the Metroid Prime task. She was working on a task this for a while, but it just kind of like fell through the cracks. People just kind of forgot about it. But it's really cool, by the way, if you can find the playlist. I think it's unlisted. A lot of crazy things that are not seen in this run. Not much to explain on downtown rooftops. Basically, there's a cycle that you have to make with these platforms that move up and down. If you play perfectly, you can catch the final platform on a cycle back. Downtown is a very slow, grindy level.
About that Tartar robot, sometimes if you get bad RNG, the other robots can just push it away, so it's impossible to jump up, and you have to you lose a lot of time because you have to find an alternate way up.
Yeah. I got decent RNG there. The best RNG is when it pushes it toward you just so much that you can jump on it early. And then you can get a ledge grab off of it. But sometimes if it pushes you too far, you can't grab the ledge. This Chuck usually isn't an issue. He just kind of fires. Nice shot, dude. A lot of people ask why we switched to Spongebob first and then go to the spatula, which is funny because it's such a minor thing in the run. Basically, it's just faster to go to the bus stop, then to the spatula, then to the button, then to go back and forth. And these like short hop button things are used to skip parts of the slamming animation, so they go into the cutscene where you wouldn't be moving anyway. Now we have the Lighthouse fight. Now, this is actually kind of a big instance of RNG, but in this game there isn't a lot of RNG, so it's only like a 3-second loss if you get the worst RNG. All right, here we go. And we got, okay, that isn't terrible. It isn't the worst possible spawn, but it is the third worst. So usually it can spawn like over on this side where I am now. But if it spawns on the opposite side, it's a pain because you have to collect the wheels. You have to get the spatula and then go all the way back to the wheel. When if it spawned on the opposite side, you can just get the wheel and go right to the spatula. You basically save a trip across if you get the good RNG. And yes, I am keeping an eye on the shiny object counter. It's very important in this run. Usually what happens if you don't have a lot of shiny objects, you have to end up grinding in Sand Mountain. But by grinding, it's just a bowling shot that gives you more shiny objects. It isn't that much. It only loses like a second or two. Now we're coming up to the first major sequence break in Goo Lagoon. And this is definitely one of the bigger run killers in this game. A lot of people have trouble learning it and performing it, even on top level. And it's one of those tricks where it takes a while to set up if you're inexperienced, and sometimes it may not work even if you are experienced. It's a very finicky trick. It's difficult to do, especially on a CRT because of the pixelation.
Yeah, we don't really know the specifics of this glitch necessarily, but how we think it works, there's like a weird invisible wall that we're gonna manipulate. And if you ground pound into this invisible wall, you'll just like stay floating and not crash on the ground. And you can manipulate that and use the speed from the knockback from when he jumps into the goo here. And you can go
perfect
over.
Jump first try, nice. Sorry, Cole, what were you saying?
With the speed, you can float over to that island over there in the distance. And everyone has their own little setup for this trick too.
According to all known laws of aviation, the sponge should not be able to fly. However, the sponge flies anyway. Ooh. Oh, that was close.
Oh.
All right. This second one's pretty free.
On this second sponge glide, however, it's kind of hard to get it. Yeah, the face is pretty interesting, but it's kind of hard to do this, but if your lineup is so bad, you can actually miss this loading zone that we just went into, and you'll just fly forever.
That's the face I made when I found out this game got into GDQ. Here's another instance of RNG here. Okay, that was actually my mistake. You're supposed to hit the robot into the other robot. Otherwise, you have to ground pound on it, and you lose a couple of seconds. So we have to get this checkpoint here because we're going to do a death warp. Oh, we got a lag spike. This is a pretty precise jump here. Oh, I missed it. Okay. Well, that's fine. We can make up for it later with more shiny objects in Sand Mountain. Okay, now we're going to death warp. This isn't water, by the way. It's goo. A lot of people make that mistake. They're like, why is SpongeBob drowning in water? It's goo, man. Do you watch the show? All right, tower climb. For some reason, these flags are solid. We aren't going to question it. We're just going to exploit it. And first try, let's go. Another thing about this game is that you can menu as quickly as you can press buttons. So the menuing is very difficult, and there is a loading penalty if you miss menu. Sorry, lad. The pier is closed. So now we have to destroy this robot tent because the robots are running the pier. But we're going to skip a cutscene by drowning ourselves when we activate it. Much like in Jellyfish Fields where we died to skip the other cutscene, And since we already destroyed the bumper boats because we played the entire level backward, we get the spatula immediately for doing that. So now we can just continue to play the entire level backward. And it's funny because the developers figured that if you get to this side of the map, you must have cleared through the caves. So if you open this box, you don't even have to open the other box to jump into it. That's another thing I forgot to explain, is that in this game, you can jump in teleport boxes like the Idiot Box episode in Spongebob. You jump in the box and it teleports you to another point in the map, but only if you open both boxes in some areas. In this particular area, I guess this is one of the earlier levels in development. They said, okay, well, I guess if you go into the final box, you must have the first box. So we're just going to open it for you. Thanks, game developers.
A lot of things in this game are pretty inconsistent, like, not in terms of, I don't know how to say this, like one-frame jumps, but like boxes like that, like some you can enter from the last box, but some you can't. And some like buttons you can only hit with certain characters, but some it doesn't matter what character you are and you can still hit the button. It's just pretty weird.
This is a downtime area of the game. It's just AI manipulation. I'm one of the dumbest AIs in the game, so we can she just kind of bumbles around and we can manipulate her by coming close, and she jumps early because, oh, he's right next to us, let's attack. And you can just keep doing this. So if you played the game before, you know that the objective of this boss is that there's a button under her head, and you have to just knock off the head and just hit the button. And there are a bunch of different ways you can do it with Spongebob or Patrick. And we have some downtime. What's your favorite episode of Spongebob, guys? Guys on the couch, guys in the crowd, in the chat. Let us know. Cole?
Maybe Hello Neighbors, I think, is the title.
Hello, neighbors.
How about you, Red Moss?
Shanghai, boys.
Shanghai?
Yeah, it's a decent one.
Bangeeks?
Shanghai's my favorite, too.
Yeah, it's good.
Yes, this is a pretty slow part of the game.
How about a donation comment?
Donation comment? This is my first time on GDQ. You just want me to, let's do a donation reading about that.
Miles242 donates $10. Hey Shift, first time watcher, first time donator, long time Darbian subscriber. Just wanted to wish you great, somewhat RNG on your speedrun. This is a big day for the Shift HD community, and the whole Rugrats Royal Ransom community has your back. Money goes to Rugrats Royal Ransom World Record Holders Choice.
Thank you, Miles. So if you guys don't know Miles, he also runs this game. He's just a lot of inside jokes in that. Funny fact is that Miles is actually cooperative with Joseph A. Costello, the YouTuber. He works on that channel as well. So we always joke about it. Like we always go in his chat and we say, "Hey man, love the pranks," even though he's just like plays SpongeBob. All right. Don't worry, guys. It's almost over.
We actually got a lot of comments coming in. People are loving Bikini Bottom. Like Patricia Escobar donates $5. Battle for Bikini Bottom is the game I dove headfirst into speedrunning with. It means the world to see it here today. This is from my grandma Eleanor and grandpa Frank, two wonderful people I didn't get to meet due to cancer.
Oh.
This event is all about saving our loved ones from cancer, so doesn't it make sense to save the animals?
Nice move by SpongeBob. This match is just about over.
Yeah, man. Congrats on getting into this game. It's a lot of fun. It's definitely a good pastime, especially if you're having some hard times. I know myself, I was having a hard time when I first got into this game, and it was like a nice distraction from all the things that were going on in my life. So definitely has a big spot in my heart as well. All right, so now we have the Tree Dome fight. Much like the Lighthouse fight, it does have an instance of RNG. And it looks like we got good RNG. Oh, we got the best setup. Nice. Except, okay, this is a very weird part of the game. that sometimes the robots can spawn after you finish your path. And so this is what's supposed to happen. You go straight to Sandy, but we had this thing that spawned over here, that little bugger, so we're just going to knock him out.
Yeah, after you beat that first boss, you get that bubble bowl move.
Oh, that's right. I should have explained that. Thanks, Cole. All right. The bubble bowl move is very important because it lets us, well, at least in RTA, it lets us do this trick because you need the bubble bowl to hit that button. In the tasks, they don't need it, but I mean, I can only be so robotic, you know what I mean? Okay. So this is called SpongeBob storage. Because SpongeBob's crouching animation doesn't allow anything else to happen during those frames, we can just keep jumping in place and get up here to activate the SpongeBob. And we can skip this whole area and go into the third part of the game. Now we go into the chum bucket. You'll see this again later. We need to go here at the end of the game. But there is a pretty easy spatula in here that we need to get to Robo-Patrick, which is the second boss in the game. All right. Sometimes that happens. There's like a little weird invisible block on the side of this thing. And sometimes when you jump on it, you kind of clip through it. It's annoying, but it's minimal time loss. It's okay. Now we have the Krusty Krab fight. Another instance of somewhat RNG. So right here we have another Chuck. And that isn't the problem, though. The real issue are the robots that spawn on the ground. So we'll see what happens. All right, we got a decent setup. Did get hit, though, so we lost some time on that. Now we're coming into Dream. This section is all about damage boosts and crazy tricks that kill a lot of runs. I'm sure the people who run this game are cringing right now because they know what's about to come. The one and only Forbidden Skip. Now this skip is somewhat random because the spikes are very inconsistent in their trajectories, so hopefully we get it within a couple of tries. Ooh. Yeah, that happens occasionally. Sometimes you grab a block and it sends you under. And we got a first try. Another funny fact about those blocks is sometimes you can grab, they're like extremely glitchy. Sometimes you can grab and you end up inside of the block, like you grab into it. It doesn't make any sense. But those are like the two things that could happen. Sometimes you grab and it sends you inside or it puts you under. Now we're gonna go to Squid's Dream. We need to get a warp there for later. First try. We barely got it too. We almost hit the spikes.
Normally you have to pay a clam 1,000 shiny objects to load some other trampolines, but that way's faster.
Yeah, if you remember back in the scene, you know, we had to pay a clam to get into that area. There's other clams in the game that we skip. Much like the tower climb, when we climb the flags, that's another place where you usually have to pay, but we skip it to make the game less grindy and more about fun. SpongeBob getting shot all over the place like we're about to do now. And first try, we got it. Yeah, all these tricks take a lot of practice to be able to pull off. I actually uploaded a beginner route tutorial for people who are interested in running this game, and I cut out all 3 of the tricks that are in here just because people get very frustrated when they're first learning the game. More of the tricks you add later in when you get more experience. So now we have to go to the Mermalair. It's part of the reason why I love this game as a SpongeBob fan myself. There are so many worlds in this game that are true to the show, and there are many references. We're going to skip this part, but you'll see maybe if I have time after, I can show you guys the invisible boatmobile is in this level. It's pretty cool. Like you hit a button and it appears, and it's like an invisible box, like a little cool thing. Also, Mermaid Man's voice actor is not actually Mermaid Man, in case you didn't realize. Mr. Krabs is also different as well. So we always make jokes about that in the speedrunning community. That's quality craftsmanship. All right, we got the RNG damage boost. So we just skip this whole area by grabbing that ledge. Pretty easy trick. This next part can be super annoying because there is a little bit of RNG involved, but if you react to it properly, you shouldn't lose pretty much any time off of it. All right. Oh. All right, we got the recovery. It's fine. Okay. Damage boost to get that sock. Now we have to come back to Patrick and do these throwing challenges. Patrick is more of the heavy lifter, macho character in this game, which is funny because he's Patrick. And he's just kind of like a sloth. These are all pretty much just puzzles that we can't skip or get around.
Yeah, these watermelons have some weird hitboxes, so you can just attack in the air and it'll somehow destroy the fruit.
Yeah, especially in that one area we exploited that I just did there. That was the instance of RNG, by the way. The cannons can fire in random directions and trajectories and speeds, and it's just really annoying. Sometimes you get hit, but if you're careful and you're experienced, usually you won't get hit. There's also another glitch that you might see, but it's very rare. It's called the phantom melon or the ghost melon. Is that when you throw the melon over here and you hit the buttons, sometimes you can walk right through and you have to get a new one. You gotta be careful on these buttons. Now we're coming up to another slide skip. It's a momentum glitch. We can store momentum on the side of the slide and jump off to skip this whole area. It's another sequence break. All right, we missed it. That's fine, though. We got the minute save in Shadow Temple. We're good, guys. All right, that's fine. This is actually a prawn fight. You guys probably don't remember prawn from the show, because I don't either. I think you might have just been mentioned once or twice in one of the Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy cartoon episodes. But I always feel like they missed an opportunity to have a Man Ray boss fight there, but we're going to return to prawn. And nonetheless, later to get the spatula with another exploit. All right, first try on that. We got the invisible ledge that we had to jump on. It's pretty inconsistent. All right, there we go. Security tunnel. Hopefully we don't get bad RNG here. All right, that button's really tricky. Sometimes you can miss that. I know some of you out there had trouble with that button when you were playing this game casually. Or if you're speed running, it's a very annoying button. The trick is you have to fire the bubble bullet at max power. And you usually get it. All right, so we're going to be pretty tight on shiny objects here. I'm probably just going to do... Oh, yeah, that's right. So we missed the stack on the slide in Goo Lagoon, so of course we're going to be under by a little bit. I'm just going to bowl a stack as we're going into Sand Mountain, and we'll probably be where we need to be. We need 1,500 to get into the gate, and we might just barely miss it if I don't do that. And when I say bowl a stack, that's just in the community, that just means we get shiny objects. You bowl a stack of tikis and get shiny objects for it. Bowl a stack. All right, so we're going to go to Sand Mountain now. We need to activate these blocks again to get a cycle. Oh, all right, I lost my momentum there. Hopefully we can still make it. All right, we still got it. Nice. So usually what would happen there is if you don't make the cycle, you get a ledge grab, and that's unfavored speed running. Ledge grabs are slow, usually. Unless completely necessary, or if you're timing it for a cycle. Sand Mountain. Okay. So we only do one of the slopes in any percent, which is good because the slopes really aren't that exciting, in my opinion. If you see too much of them, they aren't exciting, but just Guppy Mountain is nice and short. It's fast-paced, so I think it's a good addition to the run. This is where we have to get all of our shiny objects back. So the order of tikis that I hit, which ones I hit, they're all important to the run.
There's another slide where there's like a weird checkpoint like behind the slide, and if you activate it and have the hand grab you, then you'll go like halfway through the slide, but it's really tricky and not worth it in runs.
Yeah, it's also, I don't think it's viable in any percent.
Yeah, because you have to re-enable the hand.
Yeah, also in 100% you have to get the Larry Time challenge. There's like this weird thing that Red Moss and I were working on where it's like you can damage boost off of a chuck missile to get to the finish line in reverse. But those are all like weird, obscure tricks that are just theoretical. We don't really have anything to use for them yet. There are a lot of tricks in this game that aren't used in the run. They're all cool though. Maybe I could show some off if we have some time. Yeah, we usually cut it pretty close on lives here, because there's a lot of grinding. You have to blow up a lot of Thunder Tikis to get the shiny objects back from what we spent to get here. But it works out because we pretty much make back everything we spent. So the next shiny object toll is actually all the way at the end of the game, right before we enter the final boss fight. Actually, now it's before Dutchman. I'm so used to saying that because the routes changed so much in the past year. But yeah, it's right before the Flying Dutchman's Graveyard, and we have to pay 3,000 shiny objects to buy a spatula from Mr. Krabs. So we should be on track to get that. And if we aren't, I'll do some alternate routing to get it. Bus stops are very tricky in this game. Sometimes you get soft lock on them if you change your vertical positioning.
I know what that feels like.
Jelly soft locked on a bus stop in a race twice, actually.
It wasn't the greatest.
The same one.
The same bus stop in Rock Bottom. But we're skipping that bus stop in this route because we don't do Spongebob. We don't do Museum as Sandy. Instead, we do Spongebob Museum. It's flashier and 5 to 6 seconds faster. But yeah, you have the risk of soft locking if you switch to Sandy there. It's funny because Jelly's the only one who's ever done that, as far as I know.
In a race?
In a race, too.
Actually, both times it happened to me, there were 2 races.
Yeah, Jelly got knocked out of the tournament we were doing because he soft locked in both of his matches. It's pretty funny.
I've lost a run to it, but it's really rare.
Yeah, as long as you're careful, you should be fine. But in a marathon run, obviously, being careful is acceptable. But when you're going for a PB, it's like if you're standing around for a bit to make sure you have the right positioning on the bus stop, you'll lose some time. All right. So now we have Robo-Patrick, everyone's favorite boss. And I say that sarcastically because this guy is terrible. You guys remember when you were a kid, the DVD players? I mean, people still do that. You guys watch The Office when they watch the DVD player bounce around. That's exactly what this is. And it isn't RNG, it's just extremely inconsistent. So basically what he's holding in his hand is it's like an ice cream cone made of toxic waste. It's like a barrel of toxic waste. There's ice cream on it. So he spits at us and twirls around. It's kind of a cool idea for a boss in my opinion.
The reason we have to fight this boss is because we'll unlock this other move after we beat him. And that move combined with the bowling move there give you a pretty fast glitch later on.
Yeah, you'll see that after this. It's called the Cruise Boost, and we're going to show off that trick for the rest of the run. It's very useful. There are actually some categories where you start with the Cruise Boost in this game, and you just play through the entire run with it. It makes it a pretty cool run. But in doing so, the damage boosts are pretty much obsolete, so it's considered to be less skillful, probably because it's less optimized, but still very skillful. It's a hard trick, frame perfect. Okay, now we have to stall around with Sandy. This is actually the final time that we use Sandy to do anything in the run, so say bye to Sandy. We see her again a couple of times, but that's only because you have to spawn into the level as Sandy, and then we just immediately switch to Spongebob. So So the reason why I'm standing here is because he does a vomit cycle after this, and by getting hit early, he does taunt, which would theoretically lose time if you got taunted anywhere else. But because the vomit cycle is so long, we can just get the taunt and it saves some time. So pulling on these Texas swingers, by the way, this is a swing stall exploit, something I added to the run a little while back. You can just swing stall here. And the reason we do this is not only so we don't get hit, but also so we can spawn these boxes that are spawned by pulling on. Oh no.
Oh.
That's annoying. Okay.
A death in this level did resets the current cycle that you're on, so as you can
Yeah,
see.
I have to replay the whole thing now. Yeah, that was kind of a really, there wasn't really much I could do there because the box I had to go to, he was running in the direction of it. Yeah, sorry you guys have to watch this again.
There's a weird glitch that can happen on the last hit on this phase, where if you hit the goo just right and then switch to Spongebob, you'll just like sponge glide up into the air, just float away from the level, and then you're forced to restart the whole boss.
All right, this should be fine.
One more douse with that stuff, and SpongeBob will be back in the ring. Oh, that's gotta sting.
So after we finish this part, hopefully we don't drown again, but we should be fine. After this part, we have to go into the next part of AI manipulation in this game.
That's the ticket.
This part is very relevant. It can make or break a run, usually.
Back in the fight.
We have to manipulate him to land on the side of the platform that I'm standing on, or I was standing on before, that larger part. And it's pretty inconsistent because there are some invisible triggers on the sides of this arena where he can land. And if he doesn't land on those triggers, then he can't land. And he doesn't stop spinning until he lands. Sometimes he lands in the back if that happens, on the sides. But usually if he lands on the, like right here, that's what you want. Okay, we got it, nice.
It looks like SpongeBob.
Now we'll see if he lands here the 2 other times.
That's the ticket.
It's so unfortunate that I had to drown, but that was almost like a checkmate situation where I couldn't really do anything. It's very unfortunate. Very rare that you drown in this run. This is looking good to me. Ooh, we got the early cycle.
I see a prime bowling moment right here.
Also, you may have noticed the fish announcer by now. It's like one of my favorite parts of this
Great
boss.
Barrier Reef. That's my subscriber notification. Somebody subscribes in my screen. They try to sync it up whenever the fish does it, so they try to subscribe at the exact moment when the fish says it. We had a really good phase 3. It's unfortunate that we had to drown. Now let's just go for a near perfect run except for that. Yeah, a lot of people could have said, this is RNG. I'm not good at it, but it's actually not RNG. It's just extremely hard. And even I say like, oh, the game messed me up. But it isn't, it's just a very hard trick, Robo-Patrick. We like making excuses to speedrunners to make ourselves feel better. It's hard. Okay, so what you just witnessed there is a cruise boost. It is a double frame perfect trick used to increase SpongeBob's speed. It's basically just his walking speed stacked onto his running, basically it's his walking speed times 2. Okay, there we go. Got it right the second time. Second try, guys. Everybody clap. English is a hard language.
And one of the ways you can cancel or turn off the glitch is by bowling again. So that's why he does it and loses all of his speed.
Okay. Yeah, so you're going to see a lot of movement tricks, especially here. Rock bottom with this route that I'm doing is widely considered the hardest stage in the game, just because there are so many cruise boosts. all double frame perfect tricks, and the angle is very precise according to which place you're doing it on. I mean, the angle is unique to the surface you're on. It takes a lot of experience to be able to know when you have it or not. And this is where you notice that the skill ceiling in this game is very dramatically high toward the end of the run. A lot of players can be on pace for a really good run until like rock bottom, and they lose a lot of time from cruise boosting. And you notice that a lot of the splits are, they have a lot of deviation between runners for the late game because of cruise boosting. All right, we dodged Chuck. So that bus stop on the left is the one where Jelly infamously soft locked. But we're gonna skip that and go right into the museum. This is widely considered the hardest level in the game, Spongebob Museum. All right, we recovered it. We missed the cruise boost, but we still recovered it. Now we have to skip the ledge grab here to be on pace for the cycle. Basically what we're doing is we're grabbing these tires to clip through the laser walls because SpongeBob can't be pushed when he's in his grabbing animation. All right, we got it first try.
Nice.
Yeah, part of the reason why it's easier with Sandy, you could probably guess that you can just hover through these laser walls. Like you just grab the tire by hovering instead of cruise boosting. Also, her ledge grab animation is very long, which is bad in downtown if you get a ledge grab, but it's good here because you have more time to do it. SpongeBob's ledge grab is very fast, which is why it's a lot more difficult to play it with SpongeBob. Not to mention the frame perfect tricks and the cycle you have to meet. All right, so now we're kind of doing the Goo Lagoon strat where we play the entire level backward and do the abuse with the spatula warping. This level's all over the place. We just sequence break twice here, I believe. The first time when we use the cruise bubble to hit the button, that normally you'd have to get at the end of the level, but since we came back to a tier 2 level with this tier 3 power, we can just skip through everything. Cruise boosts are looking pretty good so far. We're going to abuse the physics in this game now to make this platform launch ourselves up. Get the spatula. Now we have the Trench of Advanced Darkness. I've seen a lot of runs get lost to this trench. You just fall infinitely because the hand doesn't grab you. They get to reload the level. Let's see if we can get it. It also runs on a cycle, by the way. The platforms rock back and forth. And we got it first try, nice. We're coming up to a lot of the more intensive tricks in the game now. We have prawn skip. We're going to return to the Mermalair in a very dark area, especially on the CRT where you can hardly see anything, and you have to get this invisible trigger that ends the boss fight. For whatever reason, devs just left it in the game. We have a clip that we have to do here. All right, we got the clip first try, and we're going to try to maneuver and set this up. All right, we got a first try, nice. Okay. So prawn's frozen, and now we can go on to one of the harder places in the game. Goo Lagoon just has all the hard tricks, man. It really is brutal. This is also probably the hardest cruise boost, next to like Dutchman pole boost. This button's invisible. Usually you have to pay the clan for it, but the game never spawns it out. All right, we got that cruise boost first try. Now we're gonna go over and get this spatula and drown to restart the cycle for the balloon kids. Now, in this section, we have to pop balloons to save the children, which is kind of ironic because by saving the children, you also send them into the water where they can drown. But I guess they have floaties, so that's all right. All right, cruise boost first try. That means that we can make the cycle. This is actually an instance of RNG right here. Okay, we got bad RNG, that's fine. That only loses a few seconds. That means we have to just turn around and get that kid an alternate way just to be safe. It is possible to hit that kid, but you have to be able to react to which way the pillars are moving, and it isn't really marathon viable. Nice. I thought I was gonna miss that one because I was like on pace to miss it. All right, we got it. So this is pretty much it. We got the kids. We're gonna see. All right, kids first try. Now we have to just get this death warp, or we can get the pop up. That'd be pretty swag if we get it. Oh, we got the pop up. Nice. All right, that saves a little bit of time, second or so. Hopefully it won't slide off this clip. All right, so you may have noticed if you played this game when you were a kid, you have to connect the towers to cast a light beam onto that robot that I just hit with the cruise missile. But if you just get the cruise missile and come back to this level, you can just hit it with a cruise bubble and just skip the whole thing. You don't have to do the tower puzzle or any of that junk. Now we have the hardest spatula ever. Look at that, guys. I'm so lucky. First try, downtown Bikini Bottom 2.
Yeah.
That button's a little weird because you would think you would be able to hit it by like spinning it or using the bowling move, but the only way to hit it is with that cruise bubble.
Yeah, and if I recall, people back in the day, Cole, they tried to clip out of the map with Sandy and hit it with a kick.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah, and it didn't work.
All right, this is another out of bounds trick we're doing here. Okay, that was close. All right, so now we're on our way. We're gonna skip this entire level. So bye-bye. Usually you'd go into the cave entrance on the left, but we're just gonna run under the map because the hand is disabled. Just skip this whole Jellyfish Caves area. Coming up is a clip back into the mat, which is sort of tricky, but pretty consistent if you practice it. But after that is rock skip, and that's one of the run killers in this game. It's a very hard trick. It only saves like 5 or so seconds, kind of like Spongebob Museum. It's more of a trick doesn't save a lot of time, but it's like you need it if you're going to go for a really optimized time. Oh, having some problems here. All right, we're fine. And first try, we got rock skip. You know, I'm curious to know how much time I lost in Robo-Patrick, because I'm sure this would be 59 pace if I didn't die there. When I say 59 pace, I mean sub 1 hour pace. Because I haven't really messed anything up except for that, right? It's like some very small things. Just like barely sub 1 hour pace, if so. So if I had to guess, this is on pace for like a high 101 now, maybe. Which is all right.
You had that weird death in Dream, but that's the only thing I could think of.
Yeah, exactly. Small things like that. Also, C-Nito was not optimal.
That's true.
Yeah, that jump in Mermalair.
Yeah, that too. All right, so maybe it was like a low 1 flat pace. All right, this is actually another instance of RNG where the robots spawn and when they spawn. The 1 cycle is RNG, so it's kind of random whether you actually get to do it quickly or not, based on where the robots spawn and when they spawn. Just kind of take what you get with this. You can lose up to 5 seconds on it, so it is kind of annoying though. All right. Now we have to climb Spork Mountain and go to the King Jellyfish. Another extremely difficult area of the game. I say that sarcastically because this is a tier 1 boss level that we return with the cruise bubble, so we can just exploit it to beat it very quickly.
Yeah, it's kind of a meme in our community that I've died on this boss before. You'll
Not
see
just
why
once,
it's
though.
funny. Oh, not once, yeah. You'll see why it's funny when it gets to that point.
Yeah, we kind of just go in there and just destroy him. All right, I'm ready. Yeah, we just pretty much tackle him with this thing 3 times and he's done. Usually you'd have to go through this whole process of waiting for him to slam the claps. Thanks, guys. It took a lot of practice for that one. All right. All you have to know here is just not to be frame perfect, because if you jump on the slide too early, you can get a frame perfect jump that just kills all your momentum. It's useful in the SpongeBob SquarePants movie game. It's used to skip places, but in this game it isn't useful. It just hurts your time if you get it. All right, now you guys are really going to appreciate this if you played this game when you were a kid. I think I'm the only person who actually enjoyed Kelp Forest the most out of anybody when I played this game because of the puzzles. But that's exactly the reason why people disliked it, is because of the puzzles you have to do. And you guys are in luck because we don't have to go through all that junk. So here we are in the Kelp Forest, where we skip the entire level and play it backward under 3 minutes. And you'll see why. We're just going to exploit this here and just go backward, and we're going to go right into the place where you would exit the kelp slide. And you'll see the spatula is right here waiting for us. We don't have to go on the kelp slide at all. So now we have to exploit the Mermaid Man time challenge, and this is actually kind of funny, because usually you'd have to take his time challenge and go down the slide to beat his time, but we can just activate the trigger by doing that. Let's get a cruise boost for speed, jump in this box, and just activate the trigger right here to finish the time challenge. Record time. People always cringe there because they feel like I'm going to fall off, but it's actually impossible to fall off if you're paying attention. All right, now we get to play the kelp caves back. We're coming up to Hey Kid. Ooh. Big meme in the SpongeBob speedrunning community.
Hey, kid.
There it is. All right. The faces. So normally in this part, you'd have to get Patrick and go down into the swamps and slam on that button, use the freezy fruit, which we don't use in the speed run because it's slow. But you'd use the freezy fruit, you throw it in the water freezes, the goo freezes, you go to the spatula, grab it in the cage. You have a limited time, but since they didn't account for the cruise bubble, you can just hit it with SpongeBob and skip that whole area. Yeah, Patrick is a very slow character. Hopefully we can route him out of the end game eventually, because cruise boosting is good enough to be able to do it if we find a faster way to do certain spatulas. Rock bottom lasers is a very cool, fast-paced spatula that we don't do in the run. So maybe someday if we could find a way to make it faster, we can add it. Still playing the level backward here. And get the spatula in the entrance area. So now we're going into the second portion of Dream, which is also one of the harder places. Two very hard areas here, Squid's Dream and Sandy's Dream. And we got Squid's Dream first try. All the faces, man. So many faces. Now this is it. This is the ultimate run killer. 50 minutes into the game, it's a leap of faith into this wheel. And if we fall, we have to restart the level. It's Sandy's Dream. Everyone hates this trick. It is the worst trick ever. All right, so we fell. It's a leap of faith. Very precise trick.
This is a little different from the Sponge Glide and Goo Lagoon because with this one you can actually control where you're moving, like left and right anyways, so.
All right, we can go for a third try then. All right, we got a third try. All right. Normally, if you were on a PB pace and you miss this once, the run's dead. It just loses so much time. That was probably like around a 40 to 50 second penalty just because I missed that twice. That's a hard trick. It was thought to be random until recently. We understand how it works now, but there's still no setup for it, so it's still very inconsistent. That's probably what I'm going to work on once I get back from GDQ, is making that trick consistent. So now you have this whole portion of the Dutchman's graveyard, some of the harder tricks in the game. Crab spatula. So now we're ready. We can go into the Dutchman's graveyard, and then we go right to the final boss after we trade in some socks to Patrick. It's funny, I think I actually left Sandy's Dream into my tutorial video because for whatever reason I didn't write it out. It's a hard trick for beginners to do consistently. All right, we got the cruise cancel. Cruise canceling is when you slide off a platform when you're doing a cruise boost. So you cancel the second animation. Very precise trick, cruise canceling. Because you have the frame perfection stacked on to just the right angle to slide off the right way. More Chuck nonsense over here. Now, the reason why this trampoline sends you out of bounds here is because we have a cruise boost, and the game says, okay, I need to send you in a set direction because this trampoline has a set direction, but that set direction is overwritten by the cruise boost. So we get to move in whatever speed we want, in whatever direction we want. We're coming up to Annoy Squidward Part 2, the Squid Boost. All right, we got a cruise boost off of Squidward's head, and we're going to go get the spatula, much like in Jellyfish Fields where we skip the bungeeing section. We're going to do it here. And again, same concept, we just warp to the spatula to skip that whole first part of the game, this level. Now we have wall jump skip, a very precise trick. See if we can get it first try. Almost got the cruise cancel on that. And we got a first try, nice. Cannons. This area is actually very fun to watch and play. A lot of crazy movement here. We have to activate the cannons to destroy the robot ship that attacks the Flying Dutchman ship. More chucks. Nice. Okay. All right, first try cannons. Now, I guess I'll do some explaining because this is kind of a weird trick that we're about to do. The reason why we have to hit this button to activate the cannons, you may be asking if you played this game before, well, how are you doing this, or why are you doing this now if you didn't destroy the robot cannons? Well, there's actually a glitch in this game that lets you warp to the final boss fight even though you haven't broken these cannons yet. So we can just actually exploit the menuing through that. Usually, the cutscene would just show you destroying the robot ship, but we can use the menu to go to the boss. We don't have to get teleported to it by the cutscene. The way someone found this is just pause the game and they realize, oh, look, there's a silver spatula here. We didn't do anything. All right, might as well warp to it. So Flying Dutchman made a deal with Spongebob that if he gets his ship back, he'll give him a golden spatula. But he chooses not to give it to him, so we have to fight the Flying Dutchman now as Sandy. However, we choose not to fight the Flying Dutchman as Sandy because we can exploit the trigger and just skip his whole boss. So here we go. Ooh, we got the bubble bounce to save some time. And Dutchman skip, first try. Now this is the final stretch. We can go back to Patrick and get some more socks and head right to the chump bucket. We have our 75 to complete the game.
And the final boss battle will be a lot faster than the other bosses.
Oh yeah, it's actually kind of funny. Again with the trigger exploits.
And here we are, folks, the main event. A gauntlet of ever-increasing ferocity.
All right, I'm gonna get you. No, you aren't.
The robot better change tactics and fast.
And that's it. You just skipped the boss fight.
Will
Here we go.
SpongeBob
Can we get tartar sauce skip?
the giant robot's brain?
Okay, no tartar sauce skip. That's an RNG strat, just a different way of getting launched down here. Saves a couple of seconds. Would have been cool to get it, but yeah, what can you do?
You need the hand disabled to fall down there normally.
Yep. So 100% what you would do is you'd do the shiny object grinding, bring the hand back disabled, and then you'd go here. All right, we're coming up to time. Not here. In the next vessel, we have to destroy the giant robot's brain. And we're almost done. Man, I don't even want to see my time. It was fun, though. And we're coming up, and time. Big day for the Spongebob speedrunning community. Took us years to get this game in, right, Cole?
Yeah, like
Yeah.
4 or 5 years.
Yeah, we had to. That's why we had to get Cole out here. We all raised money to bring him out. Cole was the original runner of this game. He helped with a lot of the routing. He found a lot of tricks. It's pretty much like gave us the baseline for what this game is today. We probably wouldn't even. None of us would be here without him right now. So I'd like to give a shout out, personal shout out to Cole right here on the couch. Everybody give a round of applause for Cole. Also, I'd like to give a shout out to Hazel, who's somewhere right now. She's a really talented tasser, and she actually was the original router for this game. She had a world record back in the day, and she was working on a task for this game. Might never be finished, but it's very impressive if you want to take a look at it. It's unlisted. I could probably post it in my chat if you guys come along sometime. So yeah, definitely shout outs to Hazel. I'd also like to give shout outs to Jared's Giants and Ringo Tongo, two runners who would have been here today, but unfortunately circumstances didn't allow them to. But they're both very talented runners, and they care about the game a lot. They really wanted to come here, so I'd just like to shout them out. You guys were not forgotten. And also, shout out just the entire community for making this possible, supporting everybody, and getting SpongeBob in a GDQ. Who would have thought? Like, this game's really taken everybody by surprise, and it's actually highly appreciated. I really like that. I thank you guys, too, for supporting. Yeah, I got a lot of trouble from, I got made fun of a lot when I started running this game until people started to appreciate it more. So it's good to see the Switch, people starting to get on our side for it. So it's nice. It's nice being up here. Anyway, guys, any donations you'd like to read?
Yeah, actually, we have a $5 donation from Jared's Giants. It says, happy to finally see this game make it to AGDQ this year. The game and community have both blown up in the past year alone, and I'm glad to have been here to watch all of it. Good luck, Shift, and hate 'em, boys on the couch.
Yeah, the world record's actually improved by 10 minutes since this time last year. It's pretty incredible, and we thought the game was pretty optimized when it was a 103. So it's really fun to see this go along. Also, there is, if time permits, there is one thing I'd like to show them. Are you ready, kids? I can't hear you. Who? Loading screen. All right, so we're going to go back to Jellyfish Fields. And this exploit is so game-breaking that we couldn't show it in the run. It's so precise, and it just ruins the entire run if we do it. The game would never be the same if we let people do this in runs. It's banned forever. It's the unspoken glitch. Nobody's allowed to talk about it. Nobody's allowed to do it. But I'm here to show you today. It's a very special day. So here we go.
Hey, SpongeBob.
Thank goodness you're saying that.
Well, of course, SpongeBob. wouldn't I be?
Well, the robots and the...
Oh yeah, I found this. I don't know what it is, but it looks important.
Thanks, Patrick. I tell you what, all that running around has left me pooped. Why don't you continue on for a bit?
Okay.
SpongeBob SquarePants, Battle for Bikini Bottom, guys. Again with the English. Thank you so much, guys. Thanks to all of you for letting me come out here. I know it was kind of a leap of faith with a SpongeBob game, but hopefully I put on a good show. Thank you so much, guys.
Yeah, let's hear it for that great run from Shift. Amazing game, amazing run. All right, a couple more SpongeBob guy donations. Brit55 with the $59.28